freaking first cut. Golly.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the First Cut Podcast. It is Monday, September 30th, and this is your DFS preview for the Chicken Championship. Little Sanderson Farms Championship. I am joined by the legend himself, Greg DuCharme. Greg, last day of September. Spooktober is upon us. How are we feeling this spooky season?
I'm a little spooked out. The fall decor in my house is coming out slowly but surely. Fortunately, no sickness with the kids yet. That's great. I didn't expect to last this long, but we'll see how it goes. You know, I'm sure October will have new fun things to bring, including the Chicken Championship, the Sanderson Farms. I can't wait to break it down.
Of course, many are calling it the headliner of October 2024. You got the kids' costumes squared away yet? I believe they were ninjas last year, correct?
Yes, that's very good. Very good. This year, superheroes.
Oh.
So most importantly, I will be going as Clark Kent.
Obviously.
Yep. We've had that costume somewhere in my basement for quite a while now. My wife gets on this by August at the latest. My youngest son is going to be the Batman. And my oldest son is going to be Black Panther, who he loves. And I've never seen, I don't know why he loves the Black Panther, but he does. It's not like we've seen a movie with him or anything. I don't know where he gets it, but he loves it. And my wife is, I forget.
Okay.
Some kind of, not Superwoman, some other female superhero.
I believe you. That would, the math adds up there. Female superhero.
She's not happy about it. She didn't want us to. She has a rule where we all have to be the same thing. Like family costumes are mandatory, and she wanted to be the Nightmare Before Christmas, which I was kind of excited about. I was going to be Santa Claus.
Okay.
Santa Claus. Jack Skellington is in it.
Yes.
So that was going to be, but that's out now. And one of our friends is taking the idea. So we've missed out on it forever.
The drama.
Yeah. You think the president brings drama.
Wow.
Have Halloween in Stamford, Connecticut.
I mean, hashtag good pick by your friends. That's all I can really say there. Okay. Interesting enough. I do have one final question for you. Batman. Who's the best Batman? Is it, let's see, we've had Ben Affleck, Robert Pattinson, the newest one. We've had, of course, Christian Bale. And then before that, people are going to get upset at me for this. Was it Keaton? Is that the actor?
It sounds right. I don't know. I think Christian Bale's the best.
Okay. Dark Knight.
I mean, that is just a great movie.
Yeah.
And I'm not really into that whole scene, but The Dark Knight's phenomenal.
Okay, so we're getting Michael Keaton, so correct on that one. And Val Kilmer.
Oh,
interesting.
All right.
I did not know that.
Yeah, I'm going to stick with my Christian Bale.
I think we can all agree it's probably not Ben Affleck. No offense to him. Shall we get into the Chicken Championship?
Let's do it.
Is that enough jibber jabbering right now? Okay. We are heading to Jackson, Mississippi, baby. Country Club of Jackson. A very original name, mind you. Par 72. About 74, almost 7,500 yards. It's a place the PGA Tour has come to for quite a while now. But an interesting thing is a wide array of winners, Greg, when it comes to the type of skills. Last year, they had a great tournament, great ending there with Luke List coming out of a 5-man playoff. Can you name all 5 participants, Greg?
No.
Okay.
I don't know if I can even name any.
Wow, Greg. Someone didn't do his homework. I think I can. We have Ben Griffin, who had the lead.
He should have
going
won.
Into the 72nd hole, made bogey. We had A couple Swedes in Ludwig Oberg week
Oh,
after the
that's
Ryder
right.
Cup,
That's right.
and his fellow countryman Henrik Norlander. And then we had obviously Luke List, and I believe Scott Stallings was in the mix.
Oh, I think you're right, Patrick.
Yes. So
Now you have refreshed my memory from the leaderboard I was looking at last night. That's right. Ludwig was in that.
yes.
And
Yes.
it was kind of, he didn't play very well. It was amazing that he even got into it. I remember thinking that. So you're right on the winners, right? You have Luke List wins last year, Mackenzie Hughes the year before that, Sam Burns, Sergio Garcia, Sebastian Munoz, Cameron Champ. That's your last 6 winners.
Mm-hmm.
Now, there's definitely some varying styles in the playoff last year. You got Mackenzie Hughes here, but I'm looking at this list ultimately, and it comes down to me. You got Luke List, Sam Burns, Sergio Garcia, Sebastian Munoz, and Cameron Champ. I do believe that distance is a rather important element here. And while the fairways are narrow, they are. There is a very small penalty for missing them. You're looking at some really shallow rough, about 2-inch rough. Not really anything to fear. And there's not much of a difference in green irregulation percentage from hitting the fairway or missing the fairway. So I'm definitely looking at distance being a rather important element. Iron play, specifically recent iron play, is an important element. I don't believe the golf course has extremely difficult or challenging greens and green surrounds. So it's fairly benign. It's fairly, I don't want to say basic, but it's right there in front of you. And it does seem to give a pretty big advantage to distance.
Mm-hmm. I completely agree. And if not distance, you've seen guys who can just go berserk on the greens. I mean, that was kind of when Mackenzie Hughes won. That was kind of like, oh, Mackenzie Hughes added a little bit of distance.
That's
but
a good point.
He won in a playoff over Giuseppe Straka, of course. But the Sergio Garcia year, you had Peter Malnati go super low on Sunday. We've seen Ryan Armour win here also. So it seems to me if you can,
Peter Malnati, he won as well.
Yeah, it seems to me like if you can blend that driving distance with the putter, you're going to be in very, very good shape.
Yeah, kind of like Sam Burns would be the ideal player.
Yes.
Just ideal. And I think there's a few more in this field who kind of fit that mold as well.
Burns didn't go back to back, right? He was close, I think.
He did not go back to back.
Yes. Back to back at the Valspar, not back to back here.
At Valspar. That's right.
Okay. So just to get a little more into the numbers, it looks like what I'm looking at, driving accuracy historically around 53%. That's actually 6% lower from the standard PGA Tour, but greens and regulation around 71%. That's about 5% higher from your typical week to week on the PGA Tour, which kind of backs up what Greg said. Not much of a penalty for missing these fairways. Bomb, hit your wedge shots close, make a lot of putts, and you should be in pretty good shape. I told you before the show, Greg, I had a trivia question for you, even though I already hammered you about your Halloween plans. Who is the course architect at Country Club of Jackson?
Ooh. So there was a little Donald Ross had something to do with it originally, but in 2008, it was a gentleman by the name of John Fott who did the redesign. See, I did some research, Patrick.
Wait, who did John fight?
John Fott, and there was somebody else with him who was a PGA Tour player.
Oh gosh, you did. This isn't good. You're quizzing the quiz master here.
I'm not trying to quiz you. I'm trying to remember who was involved. It's not Mark O'Mara.
Is it?
No, it's not. But I think it's someone like that.
I think you're circling it also.
Um,
Who is like Marker Mara? This makes for good podcasting. Us thinking about it.
Not us not doing it. Let's see.
All right. How about this, Greg? We will throw it to a break. We'll look it up during the break. And once we come out of break, we will be breaking this breaking news of which pro was involved in the architecture.
All right. I'm looking it up. Good job. And by the way, I don't even.
Exactly. I couldn't have said it better myself. We are going to be talking about the players, one of which who could possibly be a consultant for Country Club of Jackson for all we know. But first, we're going to hear a quick word from one of our partners.
A new crown awaits.
Brilliantly taken.
The journey to become European football royalty has begun.
A stunning goal.
The UEFA Europa League on CBS Sports Network and stream every match live on Paramount Plus.
And we are back, with answers. Not for me, Greg. I have no idea. Although I will say, Paul, hashtag Bills Mafia, thank you for tuning in, especially after last night. He said Ben Crenshaw or David Toms. What about that, Greg?
No, that's not it. I read this earlier. I can't even remember where I read this.
Oh, gosh.
It's bad, Patrick.
Oh, gosh. Okay.
All right. You know what? Let's roll on. I'm gonna do a little more searching here, because I looked this up earlier. I was reading this, and let's see.
I'm on like the third page of Google now for Country Club of Jackson, which is just not where you want to be.
Well, I know John Fott is a big part of this.
Yes. Dick Wilson got involved too.
You know what? I think it was Dick Wilson and not Donald Ross.
And maybe that's why, Dick Wilson, same guy from last week.
Right.
Montreal. Yeah.
Yeah. Famed architect Dick Wilson.
What about Mike Goggle?
Oh, I think that's it.
Wow. Let's go.
That's it. Yeah. This
Who
doesn't
is he?
say it, though. It just says John Fott. Okay. This is what I was reading. Fott redesigned the course with Donald Ross type characteristics in mind, even though it's a Dick Wilson. So very interesting. Anyway,
who's Gog? He kind of reminds me of the name Matt Goggins. That was a golfer, right?
I thought it was Matt Goggle.
It's Mike Goggle, but I believe Matt Goggins is an old PGA Tour player.
Yeah. Well, we're really on fire today.
All right. So
all the players who are going to play well this week.
Yes. So for those of you who just fast forward through that portion of the podcast, we are now to the $10,000 range. And let me tell you, it is star-studded. Many people probably won't know who will lead off the pricing this week, but it's Keith Mitchell at 10-4, Seamus Power 10-2, and then a former champion, President's Cup legend, I use that term lightly, Mackenzie Hughes at a flat 10K. Greg, that is your $10,000 range this week. I ask a simple question. You got any interest?
Generally, and this is no discredit to these players, but generally, no. See, Keith Mitchell has actually been playing some pretty good golf. He's got back-to-back top 12s at the Wyndham and the Procore, T12 and 12th. He's been playing pretty well all around, but he has a terrible record at the Sanderson Farms. He's played in it 4 times. He's missed the cut 4 times. So I'm not going after the highest priced player in the field with a record like that at this golf course. So that's one issue in this range. Seamus Power, I'm a little more interested in. You know, he's got a couple top 20s here. He's got 4 top 30s, 2 top 20s. and 2 missed cuts at the Sanderson Farms. He's played pretty well lately. In Memphis, he finished tied 10th. He had a nice end of the season, making a bunch of cuts from June on. And then he played in the Irish Open, finished tied 26th. And he's been pretty good across the board. He's been driving it well. His iron play seems to have come around. He's been putted really well for quite some time now. I do think there's a pretty good reason to play Seamus Power, despite the price tag. I'm probably not going to play Mackenzie Hughes as the third highest priced player in the field. If he was 8,800, I'd probably play him. But I still have questions about his game and his ball striking. And I do think there will be players like Mackenzie Hughes who get in the mix, may even be Mackenzie Hughes. But I'm not going to put a lot of chips into that basket, especially at the top end of this range. And you got a pretty good 9K range as well, which I'm very interested in. So if I was going to go with anybody in the 10K range, it'd be Seamus Power.
Interesting. Do you think this is a spot where Mackenzie Hughes could potentially experience a little bit of a President's Cup hangover?
Yeah, I do. I think there could definitely be some fatigue there. He played 4 matches. You know how much he cared about it. He was, drinking beer on the first tee on Thursday and then played every match after that. And he played hard. He played well in spurts. I think there could definitely be some fatigue for Mackenzie Hughes. That was highly energetic. And so there's perhaps a little exhale coming this week. He's not a hard no for me. But he's probably number 2. If I were to rank the 10K range, it'd be Seamus Power, Mackenzie Hughes, Keith Mitchell.
Okay. I think I agree with that. I'm out on the entire 10K. No interest for me because, like you said, Greg, the 9K, they might be the darlings of the week, and they are led by JJ Spawn at 99, Mav McNeely 98, Nick Dunlap 97, Ben Griffin 95, Patrick, don't call me Lawrence Fishburne at 9,400, Eric Cole 92, Rajas of Patrick variety at 91, and Jägermeister Steven or Stefan at even 9,000. Greg, who is drawing your eye?
I think especially if you're going to start your lineup here, there's a great opportunity to get 2 players. So there are 4 players, of which I think there's a really good way to build a lineup with 2 of them. It starts right at the top with JJ Spawn. JJ Spawn has been playing some great golf. He's been gaining strokes both off the tee and approach the green for the last 4 straight weeks. And his approach play success goes all the way back to the Valspar Championship. He's gained strokes approaching the green in every event since the Valspar, and it's gotten better of late. So I'm very pleased with JJ Spawn. He's gained strokes putting in 6 of his last 7. Hasn't quite caught fire. He did come in tied 3rd at the Wyndham, tied 9th at the 3M, tied 26th at the Parkour Championship. But it feels like he hasn't quite gotten hot. But this feels like a player who can this week. So he is definitely on my list. Also on my list is one Nick Dunlap. I just think, Patrick, this could be a great golf course for him. He has not been extremely consistent, but he is a basher of the golf ball off the tee. I love that element. His iron play can get extremely hot at times. At the FedEx St. Jude, he gained 5.5 strokes approaching the green. At the Rocket Mortgage, another 5, 4 at the Memorial. Couple with 3 back at the Masters and the Houston Open. He's a good ball striker who hasn't found his consistency yet, but has a very high ceiling. And the same is true with the putting. He has the ability to throw 5 or 6 strokes up at you on the board with the putter. So I think Nick Dunlap checks a lot of boxes as well.
I totally agree with your assessment of Dunlap. let's just talk about that ceiling. 2 PGA Tour wins and 22 starts. No one else in this range has really displayed that type of upside. And you're getting it at a pretty palatable price of $9,700. What do you think about Matt McNeely, a guy who hasn't won on the PGA Tour yet, was playing some solid golf, missed out on the BMW Championship, unfortunately, but played great at the St. Jude, played great at the 3M Open to end the summer. The Pro Tour, where you would think a California kid like Mav, who had success there, would be a good spot. He was dreadful, like a couple really bad rounds, read throughout the board. Any interest in Mav coming off it's his 4th appearance, T17, and his last time out in 2020?
I don't have a lot of interest. Is there a world where he plays really well and gets in the mix? Yes, absolutely. But I don't think he's quite shown me enough to believe that he's in great form right now. And so I'm in this week on taking some chances. There will be chances to take, not here, because this is such a strong range. And if I'm going to take a chance on a guy who hasn't been overly consistent in this range, it's Nick Dunlap over Maverick McNeely. I look down the board to Patrick Fishburne, and I see a guy with 3 top 6 finishes in his last 4 starts, and a 15th before that. He has been on fire with the ball striking. He smashes it off the tee, and he put a driver in play with a little less loft and even improved his accuracy, which isn't overly important this week, but all signs say he is swinging the club really well. And guess what? He's rolling the rock too. In 4 out of his last 5 events, he's gained 3 or more strokes putting. He's red hot right now. This is a perfect fit for him. Patrick Fishburne is definitely he's the 3rd player on my list of 4.
Oh, okay. So let's get to that 4th. I agree with Fishburne as well. He is the perfect profile, long off the tee, is putting the ball beautifully, and like you mentioned, he's gotten himself in the mix a decent amount late this summer and into this fall. So who's number 4 from this range for you?
Number 4 is Patrick Rodgers. Patrick Rodgers has been very steady since the Memorial. He's finished inside the top 40 in every single event since then. And kind of similar to a JJ Spawn, doesn't feel like he's gotten hot, but he's been good in every area of the game. He also has that combination of a lot of success on the greens and a lot of success with the driver. His MO is driver putter, and that is still true lately. His iron play is a little on the bland side, can be hit or miss, but it's been on the positive side of things lately. So I'm a big fan of Patrick Rodgers in a week like this as well. And he's only 9,100. I think you could fit him in there with JJ Spawn, Patrick Fishburne, or Nick Dunlap as well.
Okay. I like it. Iron plays a little Richard Bland. I have a little faith in Ben Griffin. I just think this guy is going to win a PGA Tour event soon. He came close a couple of times this past season, obviously last year as well. And so you get him on Bermuda golf course, this part of the country. I'm buying Ben Griffin. I feel like he's given himself a number of chances to win, and I feel like it's going to happen. Okay, we've got the 8K range to get to. We got the 7K range to get to, and we have got the 6K range to get to, which has pretty much half the field. We are going to dissect all of that and more after a quick word. And we are back. 8K, Greg, a number of notable names, probably more than the 9K range, honestly. You got Chan Cam, who's been having, a solid year last year. He heads the way, but you got Adam Svensson at 8,700, Johnny Vegas at 86, Matt Kuchar at 85, Harris English, 83, Bo Hostler, 82, Hubbard, 81. A few other young guys in there who are playing some quality golf quietly. Greg, which direction are you heading?
Yeah, there's a couple really good options here in this range. I think a pretty popular player will be Matt McCarty, coming off a great year on the Corn Ferry Tour. We're seeing those players get into the mix. I am not playing him at 8,800, however. Just thought his name should be mentioned. I will play Chan Kim at 8,900. If you look at the 4 guys or the 5 guys with Ben Griffin in the 9K range that we liked, if you're not into playing 2 of those guys, Chan Kim can definitely fill a nice place in your lineup. Has been absolutely electric with the ball striking. And it's led to good results too. Tied 12th at the Wyndham, tied 26th at the Pro Court Championship. I think there's room for growth with his putter, which has been really during the beginning of the year was quite bad. But it's leveling out and it's turning into, Richard Bland. It's getting just okay, which leads to good finishes for him because he is a straight flusher. So Chan Kim, definitely a good option. Now, my second option, I can't believe I'm saying this, and you could disagree with this one.
I'm excited for this. Don't keep me waiting.
Matt Kuchar.
Oh,
he's got 3 top 10 finishes in his last 3 starts.
Mm-hmm.
He hasn't played this event since 2007.
Here's a quick question for you, Greg. He hasn't played it since 2007. He played it 3 times before that also. What were the name of the tournaments when Matt Kuchar was playing?
The Southern Farm Bureau Classic.
Of course, who could forget?
And the Viking Classic.
Yes, which I am so mad that is no longer a name somewhere on the PGA Tour.
Maybe they could bring that name up to Minnesota.
Yes, that would be. Oh my gosh, fantastic idea.
Right.
Continue. Sorry, I cut you off.
All right. Now he's never made. Well, he made the cut in 2001. Southern Farm Bureau Classic. Missed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cuts in a row. But those are at a different golf course.
Good point.
They came to Country Club of Jackson in 2008. Cooch hasn't played there. So, don't let that surprise you if you look at his past history. This is a different guy. He is not the long hitter that we like, but his form certainly indicates a guy that's worth playing. Let's keep on rolling with Matt Kuchar. I can't believe I'm saying that.
No, he has been fantastic, really, ever since the 3M Open, where he was fantastic from tee to green. I believe he led that week, but got absolutely nothing out of his putter, which was like a switch of his typical statistical profile. Wyndham Championship, of course, who could forget the Monday finish there for a T12. Just trying to teach Max Grazerman a lesson, try to set an example for him, just trying to help him out late. Good guy, Cooch. And then a T13 at the Pro Tour to kick off the FedEx Cup fall, like Greg said. Not the longest guy, which should not be surprising considering he is only 4 years away from the PGA Tour champions if he wants to play that route. But playing some phenomenal golf. I do like the Chan Kim play also. I will say the Matt McCarty coming off the Corn Ferry Tour, for those of you who don't know, since the end of July, this guy has won 3 times on the Corn Ferry Tour, so we'll be on the PGA Tour. What do you think about Johnny Vegas in this range? Obviously a winner there at the 3M Open. The putter is dicey at best, but a long hitter who we know can win on the PGA Tour.
So I had a conversation with Rick about him.
Okay.
And I thought Rick brought up some really good points. There's a few things with that dicey putter. There have been times where the putter gets going. He putts really well. And it won, at the 3M Open. Worked great. But there are a lot of instances where he's putted well and it hasn't really led to much. Like 2023 Honda Classic, gains 5 strokes putting, T21. Even this year, gains 4 strokes at the RBC Heritage, T27. Gains a shot and a half at the Pro Tour, T32. I think there's kind of a lot of variables that we're going up against with Johnny Vegas. I'm inclined to say no, especially with Matt Kuchar right below him, Chan Kim within the range as well, and one other name in the 8K range.
Let me have it. I'm gonna guess though.
Okay.
Let me look at you right now. Are you thinking Rico Hoey? Are you thinking Rico Hoey?
I am thinking Rico.
Oh yeah, he is.
Sign me up. Basher off the tee. Absolutely smashes it. Really struggled earlier this season on the PGA Tour. Could not get his foot in. I was watching him. I was waiting for the Rico Hoey show to begin. He missed 5 cuts in a row before the Rocket Mortgage Classic. And since then, he hasn't missed another cut. He's been putting really well. Up until the Procore Championship, he had gained strokes putting in like 5 of 6. Now it's 5 of 7. That area has turned around. His iron play, which was sus, as the kids say these days, has really turned around. He's now gained in 6 of his last 7 approaching the green. And I love what he can do off the tee. So, yeah, I think this is a guy that's now comfortable on the PGA Tour and has the game to pick apart the Country Club of Jackson.
I like it. Is he still wearing the stud earrings?
I believe so, yes.
Yeah.
If he's not, I immediately regret the play.
Yeah, that's huge. Strokes gained stud earrings. Got to take that into account.
Yeah.
No.
I know where my guys are on the course. It's like a little marker.
Yeah, exactly. I agree with you. I do. I like Rico too. I'm gonna roll with Vegas myself. That's a
all right.
Patrick McDonald. That's a Patrick McDonald pick, not a Greg DuCharme. When it ultimately blows
Unless
up,
it works.
Yeah, unless it works. Greg did co-sign. If it doesn't work, Greg did not co-sign. Okay, let's get to a large range here, Greg, with arguably the biggest name in the field. I'm a bit surprised we're seeing him playing this week. Josh, I hope the reflexes are ready, because Rickieeeee Fowler is in the mix at $7,700. There it is. He's alongside Emiliano Grillo at that price. You got Ryan Fox, $100 cheaper, a Taylor Moore, a Lucas Glover at that same price, a former champion, a couple, Cam Champ at 74, Luke List as well, Procore Championship winner, who could forget, Patton Kazire, got her up in the mix, Daniel Berger, Thor Bjornsson, Dayman, Gary Woodland, Zach Blair. I mean, it's a star-studded cast at the 7K range, Greg.
It actually is a pretty good range.
Yeah.
There's some guys in here I really like. Start at 7,900. I think Justin Lauer is in a place where, while the style definitely doesn't fit, he could be one of those Malnati type guys. I mean, you look at what he's done on the greens since the U.S. Open. Okay, that's 7 events in a row. He's gained strokes in all of them on the greens. Over one, right? Significant strokes. In his last outing at the Procore Championship, he gained just under 6. So the putter is there. In his last 3 weeks, he's gained strokes ball striking and around the green. It's been a complete game. It's led to tied 33rd at the 3M, tied 33rd at the Wyndham, tied 7th at the Procore. I really like where Justin Lauer is. And even though it's not a great course fit in theory, I think his form could definitely allow for some great play.
Okay. Justin Lauer
on
is
the board.
kicking it off on the board. So he's off the board then, if we're playing that game. I'm going to ask you a very simple question, Greg. Yes or no answer. Rickieeeee Fowler.
No. I'll root for him. Right? Go. I'd love to be wrong on it, but I'm not rolling the dice here on Rickieeeee Fowler. I'm just not ready to do that. I've seen no signs of life. He must have. He had the baby, I assume.
He had a baby week of the Wyndham Championship. That's on me. I threw it out there like, hey, Ricky, why aren't you playing the Wyndham Championship? And he's like, yeah, I'm going to have a child. All right. But we look at Ricky Fowler. We haven't seen him since.
But you're not going to get in the playoffs.
Yeah. Like, come on, man. Joking aside, we look at Ricky Fowler. We haven't seen him since the Open Championship. You look at what 2024 represented in the context of his career. Strokes gained wise, the worst of his career. Yes, that's worse than even 2022 when he was quite bad. Off the tee, Greg, the worst of his career. Approach play, only the fourth time he was negative in that aspect. Around the green, his worst season since 2014. Putting, lost strokes putting. Gosh, when we talked about Ricky Fowler, kind of the heyday of Fowler, what was that, 13 to 20-ish, we want to say. Gosh, he made just about everything he looked at on the greens. He's lost strokes gained putting in 3 out of his last 4 seasons. And all that comes after the resurgence in 2023, where we've talked about this before. Unfortunately, in the window of the last 4 years, that season's the outlier. And those other 3 are kind of becoming the norm.
0 top 10s. You could fact check me on this. I believe it's 0 top 10 since his win at the Rocket Mortgage. Maybe only 2 top 20s.
2 top 20s. The RBC Heritage T18 and the Travelers T20.
Yeah, I'm not co-signing that. I'm not signing that. I will simply root for it.
Okay, fair enough.
Now, that doesn't mean I'm against taking risks. Okay, you want to hear the risk that I'm going to take?
I got a couple right after you. I want to hear them, though.
Well, I'm going down to 7,400. I'm taking a chance on Cam Champ.
Oh, you devious dog. Tell me why.
Well, what do we say? There's a combo, right? Off the tee and putting. Yes. Cam Champ has actually been putting really well since early July. His last 6 events, he's gained strokes putting. Gained strokes off the tee, probably, before he even puts a peg in the ground. He's going to gain strokes off the tee. So he's extremely long. He's been putting well. His short game has been bad, but this is one of the easier courses on tour from a short game perspective. He's gained strokes, although it's been mild, gained strokes on approach in 3 out of his last 4. There's a little tick upwards. We get a tied 12th at the 3M, tied 45th at the Wyndham, miscut at the Procore. But that's all after missing like 7 cuts in a row. So I think there's signs of life for Cam Champ. He's coming to a place that he's won and a place that fits his game very nicely. At 7,400, I'm willing to risk it all.
Greg, can I make a quick observation on your fantastic selections? # good picks this evening. I'm seeing a lot of crossover to the Mexico Open. I don't know if that's by design, but I'm looking at this leaderboard. Justin Lauer, T3. Patrick Rogers, T6. Chan Kim, T8. And Cam Champ, who arrived with no form at the Mexico Open, T24. So,
yes, well, they do require similar skill sets. If there's one difference, more long iron play in Mexico, more wedge play here. But as far as what you see off the tee and difficulty or lack thereof on and around the greens, there are a lot of similarities to Mexico. So yeah, it's a good venue for a little crossover. Also, I think Torrey Pines is another good one, although much more difficult.
Interesting.
Yeah, there's a couple.
Okay, I'm gonna give you my crazy picks in this range. I'm gonna roll with the New Zealander, Ryan Fox.
I had a feeling you were going to go there.
At 7,600. We talked about that combo. Unfortunately for me and Ryan Fox, the putter has been quite poor recently. He's been playing over on the DP World Tour, missed the cut at the Irish Open, T61 at the BMW PGA Championship. He's a very long hitter of the golf ball. He can putt the lights out of it as well. You look at his best finishes this year, T4 at Myrtle Beach Classic, similar field. He putted great. RBC Canadian Open, putted great. T7. And the iron play has been a bit better than Richard Bland, really ever since the middle of July. He's been gaining some pretty substantial strokes on the field with those scoring clubs. So if he can just get the putter figured out a little bit, I think he'll be in good shape. And then someone, Greg, who I tend to always play no matter what, but especially when we're in SEC country, is Arkansas Razorback Taylor Moore. I believe he went to Arkansas. I'm like 94% sure he did. I could be wrong
or deny.
Yes. I will say what I learned about Taylor Moore in 2024, a year after he won his first PGA Tour tournament, Valspar Championship, is Taylor Moore has courses that he likes. And he has shown that he plays at those courses well, no matter the form. Didn't really have a lot of form early in the year. Comes back to the Valspar Championship, T12. Plays well at Memorial Park, T2 there. Gets into a bit of a lull somewhat, misses 3 straight cuts in the middle of his summer. Comes to Rocket Mortgage Classic, T10 there. Miscut in Scotland. Comes back to 3M Open, T12 there. And so I'm going to take a chance on Taylor Moore, who we have not seen since the St. Jude Championship. He's a guy who also fits the bill of long off the tee and a very good putter, familiar with these surfaces, has played this golf course well in the past, T24 and 22, T17 the year before. So that is my risky pet, the play I'm going to risk it all on, so to speak,
right.
is Taylor Moore at 7,600.
Well, definitely a lot of upside potential for a guy at 7,600. Hasn't been playing great, but I like your analysis there. I'll co-sign.
Thank you. Co-signed by Greg. Who else you got?
I like the general, Patton Kizzire. Look, he's coming off a win. I generally don't go this way, but a couple weeks off between the win at the Pro Tour and this one. This is a guy I just feel like was trending in the right direction, even though he missed the cut at the 3M, missed the cut at the Wyndham, threw me off the scent a little bit, but it's T10 at the Myrtle Beach Classic, miscut in Canada, T20 at the RBC Heritage, miscut at the John Deere, T50 at the ISCO, T8 at the Barracuda, back-to-back miscuts, and then a win, right? Things are just kind of trending in the right direction, which led to this win, but I don't really think that stuff's over. I think he's really improved his ball striking. He's at 7,300. We'll see if the confidence that he gained with the putter last week can kind of rebound. I do not think he'll win again this week, but I think he could put together a really solid performance.
And you know what he finished at the Mexico Open, Greg?
I think he finished pretty well in Mexico.
Nah, he missed the cut. I'm just playing with
Was it El Cardinal? Was it the world? Oh, no, he finished tied 15th. That's what I was thinking of. Tied 15th at the Worldwide Technology Championship last fall, which was also in Mexico.
Okay. So technically, I guess the Mexico Open comp lives on with Patton Kizzire. I do have some interest in the Panimal, CT Pan. I don't really know what's going on with him. He WD'd at the Pro Tour, but the iron play was great. The putter was atrocious, but the course history here is undeniable. 3 top 12s in his last 4, including a T9 last year. And he putts these greens really well. So that has been his bugaboo pretty much for all of 2024. But if you want to play the Mexico Open comp, the Mexico Open game, T3 there. So he's another guy I have interest in. Sammy Valimaki was a guy who played well at the Mexico Open too. You want to wrap up this section, Greg? Anyone else? Or...
Yeah, I got I think there's I'm going to throw 3 names at you, but only talk about one.
Okay.
Michael Thorbjornsen, if you want to take a chance on it, go for it. Still kind of finding his footing, but a lot of upside at 7,200. I think it could be worth kind of a shot in the dark. I think there's also Trace Crow, who's down at 7,000 flat, could be an option. But there's one that I really like here, and I'm very surprised. So I want to talk about him because I normally just click right past his name. I mean, I click right past it. You know,
I know who it is. I got the Rico Hoey. I mean, I read you like a book.
Excellent.
Like a book. This one's going to be Chris Gotterup.
No.
Who is this?
Not a bad guess, though. This is Nick Hardy.
Okay.
All right. Nick Hardy, I have thought for a long time, is extremely talented. His performance has been underwhelming. His performance on the greens has been putrid. It has been terrible. His ball striking has been phenomenal lately. And we're coming to a venue where the greens are on the easier side, can help guys like this from time to time. And I'm hoping, praying that we get just a couple of putts to fall. If this was 7,500, I would say no. At 7,100, I think you could roll the dice on him, on good old Nick Hardy. He's got a pretty good record here as well, which is kind of what put me over the edge. He's gained strokes putting all 3 times he's played here. He's got a T5 in 2022, a T26 in 2021, and last year a T35. Again, gaining strokes putting in all 3 of those events. Been hitting the ball really well, putting like a plumber. Maybe it turns around and no offense to plumbers.
No.
But you guys can't putt.
We're pro plumber podcast.
Yes. As long as we're not on the greens.
Yes. Not enough kids are going into the trade.
I could have said a banker. I could have said he's putting like a podcaster. I could have said
like
an accountant, any general trade. But plumbing and putting, they rhyme.
Correct.
They start with the same letter. Anyway.
Alliteration. They teach you that in podcasting school.
Yes. I love alliterations. Anyway, that's the last guy I'll get into in the 7K range. I really think he's worth a play. I'm not sure I'll say that again in the FedEx Cup fall.
The rest of your life. Okay, let's get out of the 7K and move into the 6K, Greg, where like half the field maybe is located. It is quite an eclectic bunch, to say the least. We have Mississippi's own Davis Riley, a winner on the PGA Tour last season. He's at 69. I'm just going to touch on some notables. Peter Malnati is at 68. We've got a Trey Mullinax sighting. Okay. He's at 6,700 alongside Taylor Montgomery. Lee Hodges is here. Lipsky, he played well at the Pro Tour. He's down in this area. Toasty, how you doing? Is at 64. And then we're getting back to, I don't know, the 2010s, kind of. Zach Johnson's down here. Bill Haas is at 6,300. Assistant captain. Yeah, is he in the field?
Yes.
Oh, my God. I didn't even see. Oh, there he is. JB Holmes at 6,000. I was getting to Brandt Snedeker at 6,200 and Camilo Villegas, which, kudos to Camilo. He won last year at 62 as well, but it is kind of a throwback to the 2010s almost.
What a time.
Yeah. Aaron Baddeley, 6,500.
Yep. There you go. Oh, Aaron Baddeley in like 2007 at the US Open at Oakmont was so good. One of my first favorite players not named Tiger Woods, Aaron Baddeley.
Really? Aaron Baddeley. Was it the putter?
General style.
Okay.
I didn't know anything about the game. He's in the mix. I was watching him, and then he shot, a million I think he shot 82 on Sunday or 80, something like that. But
T13
so good
at that US Open.
Yeah. and shot in the 80s on Sunday. All right, so huge range, like you said. I think there's some opportunity. Well,
He was winning. I didn't know.
Who's winning the U.S. Open in 2007?
He was the 54-hole leader.
Yeah, he was in the final group with
Tiger.
Yeah, and Angel was a group ahead and won.
Wow, I did not know that. He shot plus 12 the final day.
82. Yep, with Tiger. Fun pairing to watch.
Okay,
Anyway.
continue.
Huge range, like you said here. I don't really like a whole lot up at the top. So the first place that I'll go is down to 6,600. Okay, and it's Austin Smotherman. Austin Smotherman played some Corn Ferry Tour events, came back to the PGA Tour at the Pro Tour, finished tied 7th. Last time we saw him on the PGA Tour before that, the 3M Open, the ISCO, and the John Deere, he made all of those cuts and gained over 2 strokes approaching the green in all of them, over 5 in 2 of them. So he really hit the ball well. He putted really well at the Pro Tour Championship. I think Austin Smotherman is the signs are telling me that his game is in a pretty good place, and he could put together a nice week. Doesn't have a great record here, but it's also he's only played here twice. So that's one. I like taking a chance. Again, not sure this is going to happen again for the rest of the year, but Nico Echeverria, who is at 6,600 as well, has my interest. Been driving the ball much better lately. Gained strokes putting in his last 2 out of his last 3 approaching the green. Missed the cut at the Pro Tour, but T22 at the Wyndham and tied 35th at the Olympics. He may be coming into form. 6,600. You could take a chance on him. I'm just going to run through this list, Patrick. Then you can add your names.
Okay, that's perfect.
Roger Sloan would be next. T37, T12 in his last 2 starts. Ball striking's looking a little better. Maybe things are heading in the right direction for him. And then Rick and I always like to play this game called How Low Would You Go? Like, where would you go at the bottom? And I'd actually go pretty low in this. I got a 6,200 guy and a 6,100 guy that I would consider. One is Tom Whitney, who has missed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 of his last 10 cuts, but he made the cut at the Pro Tour.
He did.
9 missed cuts in a row before that. Hitting the ball really well, really struggling with the putter, as you can tell from all those missed cuts. Maybe something is turned around, heading to a venue with, again, pretty benign greens. And he's never played here before. So perhaps he finds success. The lowest I would go, Blaine Hale Jr. at 6,100.
Okay.
Corn Ferry Tour event in August. He finished tied 30th. The Magnet Championship, gets into the Pro Tour Championship, finishes tied 37th, gained 6 strokes approaching the green. Tied 37th, losing strokes on the greens. A couple other made cuts on the PGA Tour as well. I may just take a chance on good form at the Pro Tour. Maybe we're turning something around. 6,100 total flyer, not a lot to back it up.
Okay. I am looking through, I'm clicking random names right now of people in this range, and it is a bloodbath of red for all of them. It is a bloodbath. Clicked on JB Holmes. I had no idea how much he was actually playing. If you're watching on YouTube right now, it looks like it was a bad day for the stock market, pretty much. Couple winners in there, but not many. I like Chad Ramey's a name. He just pops up randomly. It feels like at 6,900, I'd be okay taking a chance on Adam Schenk.
He's from Mississippi too.
I think you're right. Yes. Maybe that's why I picked him. Probably not. Adam Schenk's another guy who's been unfortunately shedding market cap in the market recently. A lot of red, but I don't know. I have a little faith in him at 6,800. And that's kind of it for me. I'm a sucker for Lee Hodges usually at 6,600. But man, it's man, remember when Will Gordon was a thing, Greg? Remember that Travelers Championship during COVID?
Yeah.
I was so wrong about him. It's not over yet. I could still be right, but I was all in on Willie G.
Patrick, do you have his stuff right up in front of you? Because check out what he did in Mexico.
Will Gordon in Mexico. He did not play in 2024. His 2024 starts, his best finish was a 49th at the Barracuda Championship. But the year before, 2023 in Mexico, Greg, T24.
Oh, he did. He also finished tied 15th Worldwide Technology Championship.
He did.
Yeah. So I remember talking about him because he has like a very unique skill set where he's pretty good with long irons. And there just aren't many courses that ask for a lot of long iron play and don't really require accuracy off the tee. This isn't, the wedge play is too important here for Will Gordon. So I'm out on him.
That's fair. Look, I don't think you should be in on Will Gordon at this part of the.
I think you can avoid the 6K range entirely.
Yes, I agree.
I would recommend it if possible.
I think we went through that strictly for the sickos who are just looking to inflict some pain on their Sanderson Farms Championship week.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's always a chance. I mean, it's a big percentage of the field. One of these guys is going to rise from the dead and turn things around this week.
Maybe not. Okay, Greg, you got anything else before we get out of here?
No, it's been fun. Great job in the host seat, Patrick. That's all I got.
It has been fun. I always appreciate your just you in general, Greg. I appreciate you, Greg. Great conversation. I'm happy that you have figured out your Halloween plans for this upcoming Spooktober. One last question. Favorite scary movie?
The scary movie that ruined all scary movies for me. It's the one time I can remember really being scared, legitimately scared in a movie, was the Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Okay.
Now, if you watch it now, you'd probably I was in like 7th grade in a hotel. I was terrified.
In Texas.
No, I was not in Texas. I was in a town called Mount Vernon, New York. And watching Texas Chainsaw Massacre in a hotel. I was way too young, and it freaked me out. So I'm not a big scary movie fan. I don't find them very scary other than that. So I guess I'll say that.
Okay. The one that ruined it for me, I am not a scary movie fan really ever since watching this movie, and it's The Ring. I don't know if you ever saw that one. That one ruined a lot of things for me back in the day. Yeah.
It's funny when you watch them, because I think I watched The Ring later on. It's like, it's just stupid.
Yeah.
That's scary.
And then they made it was part of Scary Movie 3, the spoof movie. And I couldn't watch that movie because I was so afraid of The Ring. My family still makes fun of me for it. There are parts of Scary Movie 3 where I like jump out and hide. Yeah. And they're like, that's not how this movie is supposed to be, Patrick. We will leave you guys with that. Email Josh. Remember to email Josh. Send in your favorite golf, non-golf, scary movie recommendations, scary movies that ruined your entire childhood to firstcutpodcast@gmail.com. Be sure to hit the like button, Subscribe to Golf on CBS YouTube channel and wherever you listen to your podcast. For Greg DuCharme at the Real GFD, excuse me, I am Patrick McDonald, and we will catch you guys tomorrow.